James and I are taking a week off from the podcast, but we thought it would be a great idea to release a compilation of all of our micro D&D segments that we've done thus far. We thought you'd enjoy. Okay, let's do micro D&D. I had a crazy idea that I wanted to talk to James about for the podcast to see if it would work. And I kind of messaged James about it, but I don't think I made myself clear. And I want to hear it from James, if it will work or not. James, are you there?
I am. I thought you were going to, explain it again. It'll work, but, I don't think that in real time it'll be, a 5 or 10 minute D&D session. It'll probably be closer to, a 30-minute thing, and then edited down into, 5 or 10 minutes. That would probably be the only way something like that could work.
Oh, you didn't let me explain it first.
Oh my God.
I'm just messing with you. So
I'm gone. Goodbye.
No, come back. My idea was to take a D&D campaign and shrink it all the way down to individual interactions. Where, a DM would probably, correct me if I'm wrong at any time, James, where a DM would probably plan for a meeting in the city and then an adventure and then, a fight. Instead of that, make it just you talked to one person and that's all we play. And then you go, okay, see you next time. I like the next.
Yeah, I got you. So it'd be something like, all right, I want to buy a magical sword. All right, here's the guy selling magical swords. And then, you go through the whole retail experience. And then we're like, all right, next time.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I want to leave it at. I want it to be microtransactions of D&D.
Microtransactions. I don't think that's the right word, but yeah, I think I understand what you mean.
Okay. Do you think it would be possible to do as a bit/segment on our podcast?
Possible? Yes.
And it's a single-player campaign, so, all the scenarios even have to be pared down even more.
Right.
All right. This kind of gets me a little bit excited. I don't know if it gets you a little bit excited.
That's my secret, Kevin. I'm always excited.
I think we're going to call it micro D&D.
Sounds neat.
Sounds tiny. My character's name. Okay, I'm going to be Mandy, short for Mandarin.
Short for Mandarin.
Yeah, I'm an orange. Oh my gosh, I could be a bird person?
Look at all these races. There's so many races.
What is a Genesee?
Genocide
Oh, it's like an
person.
element.
Yeah.
Oh, that totally sounds like a bard. As an heir Genasi, you are descended from the Jinn. I'm a freaking genie.
You're descended from the Jinn.
Yeah, I'm a genie grandchild. A faint but constant breeze accompanies them.
So your hair always flutters in the wind.
Dude, I'm hot. I'm a hot girl.
No, that would be a fire genocide. Yep. Your dexterity goes up by 1. You can hold your breath indefinitely because you are air.
Yes.
And,
I am just breath.
And now you get to choose your class, but I think you already have.
I am a bard. 3 musical instruments of my choice. I get 3? The ukulele. This demon noise. And then the bongos.
Beautiful.
Let's do it.
Your HP is max at 8.
So my proficiencies is going to be insight, investigation, and performance.
Sounds good to me. Scroll up and click on spells.
I took mending, true strike, detect magic, thunder wave, unseen servant.
Now get you some dice.
D6s?
4 D6s.
First roll is 10. Next roll is 15. Next roll is 10. Next one is 9. Next one is poopy is 6.
A 6. Oof.
And the last one is 14. Okay, so now I assign them how I wish.
You got it.
I will give myself 15 to Dex, and then I'll have 14 Charisma. I'll give 10 to Constitution. What does Wisdom do?
So are you asking mechanically what wisdom does, or thematically what does wisdom do?
Mechanically.
Mechanically, for you, not much.
So I give that one 6. And I'll give my strength 9. I'm excited, dude.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
James and I are going to discuss the backstory of Mandy Fresher.
Mandy Fresher.
Mandy Fresher. Yeah, to be fair, her name is Mandy Fresher. Well, I just wanted to say, because we didn't put it in the last video, we randomly rolled personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws, and I just wanted to mention what those were before we started. And I think I accidentally added a personality trait by accident.
Well, it's all right. Now you just have multiple personality disorder.
So I can have 3 personality traits. It's not a harm.
No.
Okay, so the personality traits that I had to base my character on is having a strong sense of fair play and always try to find the most equitable solution to arguments. I judge people by their actions, not their words. And when I set my mind to something, I follow through no matter what gets in my way. This is where it gets interesting. My ideals are freedom. Tyrants must not be allowed to oppress people. My bonds are a proud noble once gave me a horrible beating, and I will take my revenge on any bully that I encounter. My flaws are the tyrant who rules my land will stop at nothing to see me killed.
All of that combines together to kind of give you a nice little backstory starting off. I'm really interested to see how you worked with it.
I was born in a faraway kingdom and came from modest beginnings. My Genasi heritage was cultivated and enriched by my mother and father. During my teenage years, there was a change in power in the castle, and a young prince was to be coronated to kinghood. Shortly after his reign began, the newly christened king had chosen a bride, an heir Genasi girl, like myself, of exquisite beauty. After the wedding, the king's guard spread through the kingdom in search for handmaidens to aid this exotic queen. The soldiers knocked on every door, including my family's. My parents answered, and the guard stated that I would be a perfect candidate for the queen's body double. My parents were upset by this proposition and asked if there was another way or another girl, because I was their only daughter. Having me spend my entire life protecting the queen's identity would mean never seeing me again. The guards pushed past my parents and took me, stating, "She will serve this kingdom." I was brought to the castle against my will, never to spend time with my family again. Instead, I was taught to read and write. My lower-class looks and wardrobe were replaced by high-end accessories and clothing. Everything I owned was an exact replica of the queen's belongings. I spent time with the queen daily, learning her mannerisms, speech patterns, body language, and gait. I worked tirelessly to become a copy of someone else. The queen was particularly fond of music and asked the court musicians for lessons, but the king disallowed it. She ordered me to receive lessons in her stead, so during our daily meetings, I could play music for her. I learned to play the lute, pan flute, and drum. After a decade of replacing the queen in large gatherings, taking her place in dangerous meetings, and pretending to be someone I wasn't, something terrible unfolded. The queen had been caught having an affair with a high-ranking officer in the king's guard. This would mean dire consequences for the queen and the promiscuous soldier. When the two were brought to the king to explain their infidelities, the queen screamed, "It was not me, your highness. My body double is the one responsible for this. She was the one fooling with your guard under the bed sheets, not me. I am loyal in my love to you. The squire that found them was unable to tell the difference between Mandy and I in the darkness." After a short deliberation, the king believed the queen's explanation, and I was dragged from her quarters to stand beside the soldier before their king. The king nodded to his general. The general stepped alongside his subordinate and drew his broadsword. "Soldier," the king began, "you have made some grave decisions that have smeared the queen's reputation in this castle and soon to the kingdom. This not only affects her, but me as well. If these actions go unpunished, I will be seen as a weak and spineless ruler. Your time of service has ended. Kneel so your title of King's Guard may be stripped from you." The guard knelt silently, and I took a step back. Without hesitation, the general beside him swung his blade in an arc, decapitating the soldier in the hall. I screamed at the sight and turned to run, but the general restrained me. "You should have known better," the king declared. "You are to act as the queen would act. You are the queen in everything but title. Your consequence will not be as quick as his. The king slapped me across the face. The things you provide for this kingdom are too valuable just to take your life. He slapped me again. I tried to pull away. My mind raced as I tried to make sense of my situation. My life was lonely, but peaceful. I had never felt such rage directed at me before. I was slapped a third time. You will be confined to your quarters. Slap. Kept alive with meager meals. Slap. And only leave when your service is required. Slap. We will find another genasi to groom and refine. Slap. And when she is ready to take your place, you will be executed. A punch landed on my eye this time that caused stars to fill my vision that gave way to darkness. I awoke in my room the following afternoon. When I inspected myself, I found 2 hand-shaped bruises around my biceps from where the general had seized me. Both sides of my face were still red and stinging. I had a black eye from the beating the king gave me the night before. I stood in front of my mirror for a time as I thought to myself, this is not the reflection of the queen. I am not a doppelganger. I am not a clone. My parents taught me to be proud of my heritage and helped me practice the skills of the genasi. The queen had let those go in the wake of nobility and comfort. I am a skilled musician, an ability the queen was barred from having. I love to write, read, and sing. The queen hasn't even brushed the dust off her bookshelves or hummed a tune in ages. I am Mandy Fresh Air. I will not be killed for someone else's actions. I gathered a pack and filled it with my belongings, my instruments and calligraphy set tucked away as well. I opened the window, ran towards the opening, leapt, and floated to the vivid garden below. I deftly slipped away from the castle and kingdom, knowing full well that I would be hunted for by the king's men. I knew too much of the castle, its king, and his kingdom to be free for long. I just wanted a taste of making my own choices for as long as it could last.
That was pretty fantastic. Gives me a good bit to work on. The king, I get to figure out who he is and how he's hunting you down. The general that grabbed you, and the queen, and a few other little side characters. So, it'll be a
Yay!
good time.
I did a good job.
You did a good job.
I'm gonna go get my dice. Hold on.
Okay. Yay!
I got my dice.
So since your escape, it's been about a week. You've been slowly trying to make your way to the outer walls of the kingdom, but the kingdom is both large and fairly well guarded. The first night you didn't have very much trouble, but after everybody realized that you had escaped the castle as a whole, of all the guards were alerted, and the entire town is basically out hunting for you. The past few days have been kind of slow going as you've been going from one hidey hole to the next, just slowly making your way closer and closer to the exit of the kingdom, hoping to escape. Go ahead and let me know what you look like and kinda what your character's plan is.
My plan is to leave the kingdom. I have my pack on. I'm in what I woke up in. It's not like I'm wearing leather armor or anything like that. I'm in casual clothes.
Gotcha.
I have some gear with me that I know I could make it to the next town, but I do understand that this is proving to be difficult to leave. I think that going out the main gate would be the right choice.
Probably not.
So I need to find an alternative way out of this kingdom.
You're currently, we'll say that it's kind of the start of day 7 as you've been slowly making your way to the walls of the kingdom to try and make your escape. And you wake up inside of an old, ran-down building in the poorer part of the kingdom. The house that you're in is ran down. It looks like nobody's been living there for quite some time. And you manage to take refuge in it. And you take a look outside the windows to see if the coast is clear. You don't see any guards, which is unusual for the area. There's usually several patrolling, keeping the peasants in line. You only see a few commoners moving around here or there, a couple small shops opening up for the day. You've got a couple of things that you can do. If you don't want to just go ahead and head straight out, you can give me a perception check. I can give you some more solid information.
Okay, I would like to do a perception check, and then I have a backup plan that I would like to do if I fail miserably.
Okay.
3.
You look out the window and you try and get a closer look at the area around you, and as you do, you grab a hold of the windowsill and some dust knocks loose and falls into your eyes.
I'm allergic to dust. Uh, is there a way that I can get a better vantage point? Am I upstairs in this rundown building? Is it a one-story building?
It's just a one-story hut.
So I'd like to go to the door and make my way closer to the wall. Is there like a front and a back door, or is there just one entrance?
Just one entrance.
Okay, so I'm going to slowly go to the door and poke my head out.
Give me a stealth check.
21.
There you go.
Oh,
All right.
lies. 22. But
All right, so you finish rubbing the dust out from your eyes, and you walk over to the door, crack it open, and stick your head outside. You do see one guard walking down the street away from you, but he has taken no notice of you or anyone else in the area. He seems to just be minding his own business. As far as you can tell, the area is clear.
can I continue with this stealth awesomeness and
You sure can.
just leave?
No, you're good for now. You may have to roll again in the future, but for now you're good.
Okay, so I leave the front door just quickly and quietly as best I can.
Okay. So you head out. You know that you're pretty close to the wall. You expect that you can make it there by sundown tonight, determined by how many encounters you may or may not have with different guards. Go ahead and roll me. Do you know how to roll a percentile die?
So it is 60 plus 10, so 70.
70. Okay. So you manage to make your way through the crowd pretty easily. Every now and then you come across a group of guards, and you do see some of them handing out flyers, which you don't get close enough to see, but you assume are of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And any time that you see a group of guards, you kind of just grab your hood, turn around, and walk in the other direction. So it's taking you a while, but it's about midday now, and you turn a corner and give me a dexterity check.
23.
You turn the corner and you almost run smack dab into somebody, but right before you do, you manage to stop yourself and kind of jump backward, keep track of your footing. You see his hand kind of reach down to his short sword that he has, and he goes, "You stop there."
How long do I have to think?
As long as you need. This is a podcast, so you can edit it out.
What kind of district am I in?
You're still in the poor district.
Is there like garbage around me?
Yeah, I'd say that you could very easily grab a pile of garbage.
I'd like to throw something in between me and him or in his face, depending on what's around me, and make a run for it.
You have a couple of barrels that you could tip over as a quick barrier to try and gain some space as you run.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna tip them over, kind of like tip them to the side and towards him, so he has to deal with it.
You toss these barrels at him and turn to run. You look back just in time to see him hop over the barrel and give chase. It slowed him down for a brief moment, but not long enough. He's right behind you.
Was he the only guard in the area?
That you've seen so far.
I want to make this guy fall asleep.
So you need to roll 5d8.
14 total.
You feel the energy form around your hands and shoot forward, and you see it hit and interact with him, but he shakes it off and continues forward.
James! I keep running.
Let's see, give me an athletics check.
Athletics check. Not an acrobatic?
How about this? You could replace your athletics check with an acrobatic check if you tell me how you're using your acrobatics to run away.
I would like to run away using the piles of garbage and barrels and boxes on the sides of the buildings to kind of like Altair myself up to the rooftops.
Okay. So you want to start parkouring it up.
Yep, parkour.
Go ahead and
bro.
give me that roll.
12.
You're just running full force trying to make sure that you can escape. You hop from pile of trash to pile of trash until you finally reach the top of a building, and you start taking off, jumping from building to building. This being the poor section of the town, the buildings are all relatively close by. It's no issue whatsoever. And you take a quick glance back and you see that the guard has not followed you to the top of the buildings. You don't know if he is still in pursuit, but you do know that he is not currently in sight.
Okay. Is there a way I could hardcore parkour my way towards the wall simultaneously?
Yeah, that is definitely what you can do. You correct your course to start heading towards the walls of the city. At this point, have you kind of given given way on trying to be stealthy and just going as fast as you can, or will you try to take a lower profile?
I still want to be low profile as I'm hopping over. I don't want to be like this thunder clapping roof stepper.
Well, go ahead and roll me a new stealth
Okay. 7.
versus the perception.
Mm.
Okay.
Don't like
All
it
right.
when you
So
say verses.
a couple of seconds pass. You go to make one of the longer jumps in between buildings, and you just barely make it. You have to grab a hold of the side of the building and pull yourself up. As you do, you look down and you see the guard that had been chasing you point up at you, and you hear him yell, "She's over here! Hurry!"
No, stop it. I gotta get up to this roof. I gotta stay up on the roofs. I have to.
All right. Well, you pull yourself up and you keep going. Give me another acrobatics.
You suck. 8. This dice sucks. Get out of here.
8. New dice needed.
Yeah.
Dice down already. It's been 10 minutes. All right. So you, uh, it's recently been raining, and as you move to take a leap to the next building, your foot slips in a small puddle of water that you didn't see, and you fall down to the ground below you. Roll me a d4.
I'm gonna take ouchies. 2. Oh wait, that's a D6. Sorry, I lied. I lied. D4. 2.
Take 2 points of ouchies. You see the guard and 2 more go around the corner, and you take back off. And as you round the corner of the building that you just fell from, with your head still turned looking at the guards behind you, you slam right into another person. You stop and look up, and you see this bright red-skinned tiefling in bright silver armor standing right before you. Give me a religion check.
13.
While you don't know a lot about it, you do see the symbol on his chest is the symbol of 2 hands with their palms out, covered, or not covered, but bound in red string. You
Okay.
know that symbol to be the symbol of Ilmater, which is the god of basically kindness and protection, and not the type of god that you normally see in this town. The person that you ran into stops and looks at you and goes, "Well, what's the hurry? What are you here for?"
You gotta help me in some way or another. I need to get away from these big burly strongmen. They're trying to take me back to the castle. I don't want to be there. I want to leave. Can you please help me get away for just this moment?
Give me a
Crying check?
yes. What is the check called? Persuasion.
Are you sure I'm not intimidating him through my tears?
I am very sure.
Okay, well, persuasion and intimidation are in the same family. 16.
Okay. So he takes one quick look at you and then looks up to see the guards round the building and start heading towards you. The lead one that's been chasing you for a while points and yells, "Stop right there in the name of King Aiden!" You feel the hand of the tiefling kind of push you aside as he steps in front of you, and his hand goes to a bright silver metal chain that's wrapped around him. He just looks back and says, "Go."
Okay, so I go.
Give me an athletics.
Are you sure? I'm gonna do cartwheels away.
I am 100% sure that you should give me an athletics.
Oh. Nat 20.
Boom. So he pushes you out of the way and just tells you to go, and you just take off booking it. And you're running as fast as you've ever ran. After a couple of minutes, you've reached one of the northern entrances for the kingdom, and you know that there will be guards posted.
I have so much freaking adrenaline built up now. Would it be beyond reason to think that I'm like tapping into my air genasi heritage and skills where I'm running so fast I'm like levitating now?
Sure, we can say that.
I think I'm just gonna keep flying just out the main gate. I'm just
Okay, so you just go straight through the main gate.
yeah, I don't think there's time to play around anymore. I just gotta go.
Okay. As you thought, the two guards that were stationed there see you go flying through the gate, and they take off after you. After just a few short seconds, though, you're easily outrunning them. They're both in heavy armor. They can barely even give chase. You've continued down the main road. You look back, and you see that the guards are just little dots in the distance.
Gonna keep going. I just want to get off the main road.
You know that the town of Tora is to the north in the direction that you're heading. You can continue on the main road to make it in about 2 days, or you can cut through a relatively small wooded area to the northeast to make it to it.
I'm gonna go northeast into the woods.
Thank you so much for listening, and join us again next week when we do our regularly scheduled Fanatics Media Radio podcast. See you soon.